Hi, lovely people. It's your girl Karina. Welcome, peace and love. I'm here to talk about a topic that has been with me for the last 4 years, but finally have the confidence to be able to talk about it because there isn't any actual research that I have discovered in which I could refer or resource to. So the source within me is actually coming from a deep space within my mind, within my DNA, within my the memories, and would love for you guys to join me in the chat because I would like to make this a collaborative conversation. I plan to do these conversations at least 3 times because we can create our own resource, our own book for people to talk about when women ruled the world, baby. When women ruled the world. So, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because the pendulum is swinging towards feminine rulership, as you can see in all of the um, films and music videos, esoteric messaging, everything is coming out that women are now taking the reins, right? Women are now becoming in rulership of the world. It's not all manifested yet, but we are on our way to that. And I wish I had written a song called Pendulum for my Pink Water EP. It's an important message I would have wanted to have, but there's a reason why I didn't have it. Maybe it's for the next music project, or maybe it's for Pink Water EP Part 2. There we go. So when we think about the pendulum, how it swings, right? Um, in a matter of ages, right, in cycles of how life goes, there was a time when women ruled the world, and it was a very different world than the one that we see right now. What actually ends up happening is that there becomes a beginning, there's a middle where everything is heightened and everything is climatic, and the best of the best outcomes happen when women rule the world. And then there was the fall of women ruling the world, in which the most toxic behaviors were there, the most wronging that was done to humanity was there. And because of that, the pendulum swung in the other direction, and it became the era and the age of men ruling the world. And this is why men have ruled the world for a long time, but they didn't always, because the pendulum is always swinging back and forth. So when we look at the times that we're in today, we can understand that we are moving again, and the pendulum is swinging back the other way for women to rule the world, which means that men ruling the world is going through its fall, in which everything that was toxic while men were ruling the world is showing its face. And this is what it's looked like probably for at least the last 2 or 3 centuries of men ruling the world was the fall of men ruling the world. Okay, so we are in a very important time shift. We are in a very specific times, and I think that it may even be connected to the Mayan calendar. I think that they were calculating the change of 2012, which is actually seeming to be more of 2020, that um, the shift and the concept of time is ending because time is a masculine thing. And so when men ruled the world, they brought time to existence, and time is what actually kind of made everything have a sense of order. And we love time. Time gives us discipline in when men ruled the world, and it became a heightened and pivotal thing. This is why Capricorn, the zodiac sign that is ruled by Saturn, is at the top, is at noon, because the Capricorn um, zodiac and belief system is that Capricorn is rising to the top is the most ambitious. So when men rule the world, time is important, and that's why we have the perfect 12 zodiac signs in order, separated by perfect 30 degrees, right? And the very epitome of the zodiac is the 10, which is Capricorn, and which is also Saturn. And it's connected to the idea of basically becoming having your own mountain and being successful in your own mountain, being successful in life, being successful in business, having your own authority, right? And that time brought great order to the world, allowed people to be more organized, allowed people to have a sense of form, like a sense of solidity, because um, feminine energy is more murky and muddy. It doesn't have form, right? It doesn't necessarily have solidity, but it has this kind of chaotic free for all. That's feminine energy. With masculine energy, you have order, you have wars, you have competition, right? So you have competition in feminine energy too, but it's a different type of competition. It's more scorpionic, where masculine energy is more Aryan, more Aries competition. So when we're looking at the swinging of where we are on the pendulum, we could say that women are about to rule the world, and this is why it may seem like it is the end of time. Come take my hand, I won't let you go. I'll be your friend. I'll love you so deeply. I will be the one to kiss you at night. I will love you until the end of time. Right? Because the end of time is the end of men ruling the world and the beginning of women ruling the world. Okay, so what happened when women ruled the world? Well, there are good and bads, okay? And I don't talk good and bads, but there's great things and there are not so great things, okay? And this is why men took over, because the pendulum is always swinging, okay? Now, when women ruled the world, femininity, compassion, sensitivity, intuition was at an all time high. And women were able to communicate with each other, not just through words, but through psychic abilities, through intuitive understanding and intuitive sensitivity. So, language wasn't as strong, language was almost non existent, even when women ruled the world. Okay. There wasn't as much confusion with language because a lot of things were communicated um, through the psychic realm, right? Through the astral realm, through the emotional realm. So communication was very different when women ruled the world. The other thing is that when women ruled the world, we children and how they were actually, taken care of, it was a lot more of a collective thing, right? So in today's world, like women are forced to, you know, take care of their child by themselves, like stay-at-home mom situations. um, they have to find a babysitter, right? Or they, because in the man's world, women are forced to, even as a stay-at-home mom, forced to operate from a more masculine level. So even stay-at-home moms are not in their true femininity because they're exhausted, they're tired. When women ruled the world, it was a collective situation for women to raise up children. So it wasn't the burden of one or even two people to raise up the child, but it was a collective situation because when you have a child, a lot of things shift, right? So women become like, taking people have to take care of you more, right? They want to make sure you're okay, make sure you're rested, right? And you have all these feelings of enjoying being taken care of because you're pregnant, and you're coddled really well. In the masculine world today, that is the only time a woman is coddled. Once she births the baby, she is not coddled anymore. She has to do the work, right? In the feminine world, when women ruled the world, she was taken care of from um, before birth, during birth, and after birth, right? And the whole concept of birthing was different, right? You didn't have hospitals or anything like that. Women would do these squatting formations and positions, and would birth the baby maybe in those positions or like in water. Um, and birthing was a lot more of a happier process, if not at least easier, like just a lot easier to birth babies when women ruled the world because they weren't confined to hospitals and the positions of which they birthed the babies were more in alignment with the body's ability to push the baby out. So we don't have that as much in the masculine world, but when women ruled the world, birthing babies was a big spiritual thing, and you were taken care of from the moment of pregnancy and after birth. In the masculine world, after birth care, post pregnancy care is not a priority. And so this is why you have a lot of women who suffer from depression, postpartum depression, things like that. So when women ruled the world, people helped her to take care of the baby. They listened to the mother, and the mother was the one who directed people on how she wanted the baby to be taken care of, what she wanted people to do with her baby, and people were willing and listening. In the masculine world, everybody's telling the mother what she should do, whether that's men or women. They're all telling the mother what's the right thing to do to take care of her baby versus the other way. But when you service the mother, then the children are better taken care of. So there's less child abuse between mother and children like there is today because mothers are pushed in a place where they are in trauma, they're disconnected, they're numb, and unfortunately certain mothers don't know how to take care of their children properly because the aftercare of birth is non-existent. So this is why when women ruled the world, it was very different and it looks very different and the practices were very different. I saw the other day a young lady say that, a lot of mothers, they're so joyful about being coddled and taken care of when they're pregnant, and they um they see the baby as toys and as dolls, and they don't understand the burden of childcare. And I think the point of the young lady was to say, like, look, don't treat your children as toys and dolls, treat them as like real human beings. And I get what she's saying, but the problem is that's coming from such a masculine point of view because no matter what, your child is going to be a burden to you because you don't have the element of care like you did when women ruled the world, okay? And the ability to see your children as dolls and to enjoy them and play with them and be compassionate and see them as like little toys is actually natural because babies are cute for a reason. They're sweet little things for a reason. That helps you to connect with them, helps you connect with innocence, with wanting to protect their innocence, with wanting to dress them up and enjoy them. The reason that it's so backwards in today's world is because the mother is so burdened that it becomes black and white. One moment she loves her child and adores her like a toy, and her or him like a toy. And then the next minute, she wants her space, she wants to be by herself. It's like so difficult for her to have space and to have time for herself in the masculine world. So the mothers are, and the motherhood is very toxic in the masculine world. And because of this, mothers pass on to their children really traumatic experiences in which, if she was well taken care of by the collective, then children would be having less trauma to deal with. When women ruled the world, it wasn't just other women, but it was men too that helped to raise the children. Because children need both dominant feminine and masculine traits. And so it wasn't just the father, but it was the father's brothers and friends, all men raised up in the proper way because the cycle was given that everybody was nourished in the proper way. So everybody had the ability to have compassion and connection with the children. So when women ruled the world, when I say the village and the collective took care of the children, it wasn't just the mom and the dad, it was the sisterhood and the brotherhoods that raised up the children, which alleviates the weight of the parents to have to um, take on so much of the burden, which gives even more connection of the parents to the children in that they don't have to take on the burden. Also, children become more socialized better because they get to socialize with other wholesomely nourished people. Because a lot of times in today's world, the child is either separated from their parents because they're in daycare or something all the time, or in school all the time, or they are with their parents, but just being with one other person is not good socialization. Really good socialization is being able to be with a village of people, interacting with different types of personalities and people, and that really helps the child to flourish more socially. So when women ruled the world, these were some aspects that were very different than how we see them today. And so as the pendulum is swinging and the decline of the masculine, the men ruling the world, you're gonna see things like we see things like Planned Parenthood, abortion rates, things like that, because it's just not supportive enough for women to have babies like that. Um, and you see motherhood being a real struggle. So this is one part of the conversation that I wanted to have. Like I said, I'm gonna have probably a bunch of parts to this because I think it goes deep and it is coming from a place inside of me versus looking out for some book in Barnes and Nobles to tell me what happened when women rule the world. I just know by studying the astrology, the cycles, knowing that the pendulum is swinging, know that we are approaching the end of time, that all of that means is that women are about to rule the world again. So maybe we want to look at where it is that we flourished and we can look forward to, but also think about where it is that things got a little too toxic. And one of those things I feel is when women are in charge and when women are ruling, right? We deal with scorpionic energy. Okay. Scorpionic energy is Mars, which is competition, and Pluto, which is deep psychology. Okay. And so the downfall of women ruling the world was the fact that a lot of women were strategizing in darkness and mystery against one another, right? Wanting things that other women had, seeing that the grass was greener on the other side, creating secret criminal ways in which to steal from other women, even when it comes to stealing babies or stealing their men or stealing something that they had, maybe even stealing like part of their talents, like stealing their voices or stealing, their beauty, things like that. Women ruling the world means that the fight for who is the most beautiful is still very strong when women rule the world. The fight for the best vagina, the best looking vagina, best all of those things are still very strong when women rule the world. It's not just dominant in masculinity because everything is made up from the womb. And so, whether the pendulum swings to men ruling the world or women ruling the world, the fight for the vagina is always, and the best type of vagina is always going to be a fight that continues. So, when women ruled the world, competition was um, still very much there, but how it acted out was a lot more mysterious, a lot more secretive. So, more of that in part two. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to seeing how you responded to this video, which will help me to create part two. Okay? Peace and love. Bye.